Former NHS Trust Chair, a very good evening to you. Martin, we can sit here and we can pontificate about budgets. We can talk about, you know, diversity roles. The reality of many parts of the NHS, which has been held on a pedestal by so many for so long. When you hear stories like that, isn't it time, as a caller said to me earlier, that the politicians from all sides, right, got their heads together, realised that it is not fit for purpose and that we need to do something because it is not. Whatever people said, the doctors are doing the best. Yes, I know that. The nurses, yes, I know that. But the fact is, patients, people are suffering, aren't they?
Well, good evening, Jeremy, from Stratford-upon-Avon in the West Midlands, where we're delighted to have such a wonderful ambulance service providing for us here. I go slightly further than you. I think we could have the finest politicians anywhere, and they will never, ever find an answer to the problems of the NHS. It is politicians who are the problem. This is where it all starts. This is why you have something that is there serving politicians and not serving patients. This is why the layers of bureaucracy, and I've been talking to another former chair of an NHS trust only this morning, and we had this fundamental agreement that actually it is the layers of bureaucracy caused by politicians that actually prevent the NHS from delivering good services.
Right, let's cut that down, right? So I've talked to you very candidly about how I believe both politicians and people in the NHS revere it or have revered it for so long that they daren't criticise it. I'll nail my colours to the mast, Martin. I believe it was one of the greatest inventions in the modern world. The fact is, we have a much larger, much larger population. We have an ageing population. Let's ask you all the questions. Is there enough money given to the NHS?
Yes.
Is it badly spent?
Yes.
Then how the hell is that down to politicians and not the very executives that run, with respect, trusts? How is that politicians if they give you the money? So if I've got 5 businesses and I say to my 5 chief executives, give me a budget, and they give me a budget and I give them the money, why is it my fault if they spend it unwisely?
Well, it doesn't work quite like that, Jeremy. First of all, the money goes to the commissioners. These days they're called integrated care boards. The commissioners are pretty much directed as to how they can spend that money. And they may not always spend it in the best way. In fact, they very often don't. Sometimes they do. But actually, it does go down to the politicians because unlike anywhere else in the world, nobody's ever copied the NHS as being a wonder, even when it was at its best, perhaps in the 1960s and 70s. No other country's ever copied it. Or virtually every other country, the actual delivery of the services is done from within the private sector. Yeah. And this is what needs to happen. There's 2 sides to anything like this. There is the commissioning end. There's the provision of money, and everybody, the governments of all shades always will tell you, oh, we've given 20 million here and 10 million there and 5 billion here. That's not actually the issue. The issue is that the people who deliver the services shouldn't be public servants. They should be commissioned, their organisations, preferably in the private sector, to deliver services to a certain standard, and they don't.
So why, help me out, because, all right, I agree with you, the public services are bloated. We'll get on to the other reasons for that, but let's say, and I don't disagree, by the way, that you integrate some system like they have in other countries where the private sector plays a role, right? Who polices that? How do we know, not being cynical, just giving both sides, that a company won't just come in and just go through the motions to make money? Look at some of how the railways, after privatisation, with respect, some very good, some awful, Martin. Awful.
But Jeremy, the railways were mini monopolies.
Yeah.
We're not asking for another group of private sector mini monopolies. Yeah. There needs to be competition in these services. And if you look at, say, Germany, which is a good example of pretty good health services, the health services, the delivery of them is largely private. And actually, the population of Germany actually pay into a statutory insurance service. It's very much like by law you have to insure your car. Well, there by law you have to insure your health.
Do you think that we suffer because we still hold on to the free at source? And you made a point about population. I don't want you you to feel that you're getting political, but half of the problem, I think, is we let too many people into this country who haven't paid into it, and we're forgetting and failing the very people who have, like the 80-year-old who died in his own house because an ambulance didn't get there. That's an appalling indictment of the United Kingdom in 2024, isn't it?
Jeremy, I don't mind you going political at all. I mean, yes, it is. And the population, I mean, people who have not actually contributed anything are sometimes given preference to those who have.
God.
It's just not acceptable.
No.
Neither it is acceptable to have all these peripheral services that the NHS has to do, like equality and diversity and all the rest. It's unnecessary. It's not core. Our Prime Minister likes to talk about being mission-led. No. Well, the mission of the NHS is to deliver good services. It's not to do all these peripheral, non-essential things that dilute and make the service weakened. And it makes it not just political, but over-bureaucratic. If you have the commissioners separated from the service and given the freedom, the liberty, Wes Streeting, whoever, they can decide, oh, we're going to reform. They never do. They never will. It'll never happen.
I don't mean to stop you because I literally, you're my new favourite person. We'll definitely have you back, Martin Gower. Thank you very much indeed. Sorry to cut